This Jackson County, Florida woman was targeted and victimized by a crooked criminal sheriff's deputy who recklessly recorded himself planting evidence during a traffic stop. So what does it look like when an officer weaponizes his badge? Well, this video is an example of an absolute worst-case scenario and demonstrates the dystopian reality of modern law enforcement. So hold on tight to your civil rights, because today's shit show starts right now. At approximately 4 p.m. on February 15th, 2018, 52-year-old grandmother Teresa Odom was pulled over in Marianna, Florida on a defective equipment violation, as her brake lights would occasionally flicker when the wiring would get wet from the rain. It's worth noting that at the time, Ms. Odom was on felony probation over a previous conviction of dealing in stolen property. More on that later in the video. Deputy Zach Wester of the Jackson County Sheriff's Department approaches the vehicle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Should I turn in here to get off?
You're fine, you're fine. Deputy Westwood, Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Reason for my stop is your brake lights.
Yes, sir.
They work 1 minute, and the next minute they don't work, and then a few seconds later they just flash, okay?
It's probably because of the rain.
Okay, that's fine. You got your driver's license on you, ma'am?
I just got tickets the other day. I'll be glad to show them
did
to
you? No, you're fine. All right, thank you. I'll be right back.
My truck may or may not start. When I turn it off, you may have to push me off, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Okay. Do you need to turn it off? Do you have to turn it off?
It'd be probably better.
Okay.
I'm on a hard time with it as it is.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Can I answer my phone?
Yeah. You can answer your phone. I'm just trying to think what's going to be best for, what is that right there?
The officer points out what he perceives to be a snorting straw and sets the tone for the stop despite his charismatic, nice guy persona.
Right there.
What is what?
That right there.
What is what? This?
That straw right there.
This is no straw. It's an ink pen.
Oh, okay.
It's an ink pen.
It was connected. It looked like it was
No
connected
straw.
to that arc.
Hey,
hang
I just
tight,
got
okay?
pulled over.
Dang. You see my hip give out right then? Good Lord.
Look,
All
you
right.
just don't even need to know. I've been at the hospital with an
My
84-year-old
God.
uncle all day long for 3 days.
Okay.
Now, so I'm expecting anything at this point.
That would be, I hope everything turns out good with that, all right?
It did. It did.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. I'm
It
sorry.
did. And I'm waiting on Dr. Albritton to call me. That was another thing I was fixing to tell you.
Okay.
If Dr. Albritton calls,
That's
may I
fine.
answer his call?
That ain't no problem. I don't care. Yeah, I'm not going to keep you from talking on the phone, okay?
The plot thickens as the well-rehearsed performance begins.
Anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades,
Drugs?
rocket launchers?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Here's what I do probably 10 or 15 times a shift, okay? There's going to be a K9 coming in a minute, and she's going to walk around the car, okay? But instead of doing that, would you consent to a search of your vehicle? You're fine with that? Okay. All right. You mind stepping out and just hanging out with this deputy right back here?
No, I don't. I'm scared of being in this traffic. To be
No,
honest.
Deputy Hayke will take care of you.
Can I take my phone?
Yeah, take your phone. I don't care. That's fine. Come on.
Ms. Odom, confident that there's nothing to be found in her vehicle, consents to the search. In doing so, she's waiving her constitutionally guaranteed right to be secure in her personal effects in accordance with the Fourth Amendment. More on that later in the video as well.
How are you? 2554 to 2540. You can cancel. I got consent. All right. Deputy Hayke, make sure you don't get run over, okay? Because I have faith that he would prefer to get over. All right, just hang tight, myself.
At this point, Deputy Wester is recorded on his body cam planting what was later proven to be methamphetamines in the seat of Ms. Odom's vehicle. Notice how her yogurt spoon magically transforms into drug paraphernalia, further aggravating and adding to the fabricated charges that would be levied against her.
According to the brother, neither he nor his brother drank milk.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, son.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, son?
That is not mine. No, sir.
By now, knowing that he's looking for drugs, Ms. Odom attempts to explain that the residue left over on her lunch spoon is yogurt. To her dismay and obvious disgust, the officer presents the drugs as if they were found in her vehicle.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you any
No,
direct,
sir.
I'm not going to ask you any direct questions. I'm going to read you your rights first, okay? So just hang out with Deputy Hayke here.
What is it?
I have an idea. We're going to test it, though, okay? I don't know.
Oh,
but...
no, Teresa, you're going to jail.
Yep. Do what? Okay.
What it is? Yeah, there it goes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess. No, do you have anything on you, Miss Odom?
I said I didn't have anything on me in the truck.
Oh, okay.
officer.
Oh, okay, but do you have anything on your person is what
I
I'm
have
asking.
nothing on me to my knowledge
Okay,
at
thank
all.
you. We're good. Okay, all right.
And I'm not trying to be over.
It did return presumptive positive for methamphetamine, okay? I'm just letting you know, okay?
Officer Wester then continues his award-winning performance by doing a field test on the methamphetamines that he illegally placed in Ms. Odom's vehicle, knowing full well what the test results would conclude. He then informs Ms. Odom's that it was, quote, presumptive positive for methamphetamine.
What about my truck?
I'm gonna have to tow it, okay, since it's a narcotics felony arrest, okay?
They saying they gonna tow my truck, baby.
Right. Here, you just want to put your phone and your sunglasses in your purse here, and we'll make sure all this gets to the...
Ms. Odom was arrested, charged with 2 separate felonies for possession of methamphetamines and possession of drug paraphernalia. Her truck was impounded, and she was locked up for 19 days. She would go on to plead no contest to the charges, and when later asked why, she responded, quote, I just didn't think I'd be able to beat anything because it was law enforcement, and I wanted to get home and take care of my grandbaby because she was about to be 3 months old. 6 months later, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement conducted an investigation into Deputy Wester's conduct in early August of 2018 at the request of Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Deputy Wester was placed on administrative leave and fired a month later. The investigation found that Deputy Wester had a simple MO: target low-income citizens, pull them over for bullshit traffic violations, intimidate them into consenting to his desperate search for bombs, hand grenades, and rocket launchers, plant felonious amounts of drugs inside their vehicles, and throw them in jail. In light of these findings, prosecutors would reopen more than 300 previous cases involving our bad actor. More than 100 of those cases were vacated and had charges dropped. To her relief, Teresa Odom was one of those cases. Her convictions were vacated on September 18, 2018. The now former deputy was arrested on July 10, 2019, and faced a metric shit ton of 67 felony and misdemeanor charges. On May 18, 2021, he was convicted of 19 total charges, 12 of which were felonies, by a jury of 12 members from the community he terrorized. He was sentenced to 12.5 years in state prison and has since, much to my personal disdain, appealed his conviction. Because of course he did. As the date of recording, at least a dozen of the victims have filed civil rights lawsuits for the despicable crimes perpetrated against them by Mr. Zach Wester. In July 2019, Teresa Odom filed a federal lawsuit, which is still pending. I mentioned earlier in the video that Ms. Odom was on felony probation at the time of the incident. That said, it's likely she was known to local police, and her Fourth Amendment protections may have been restricted either in lieu of or under threat of incarceration as a condition of her probation. So there's a high probability that she couldn't refuse an officer's request for a search during any interaction with law enforcement. And based on the visible condition of her vehicle, it's reasonable to conclude that she's a person of limited means, with a low expectation of mounting a robust defense on her own behalf. This in itself increased her vulnerability of being targeted, and it makes a compelling case for sweeping reform within our perilously broken justice system. I can only speculate on the means by which the officer acquired the contraband, let alone the massive breach of public trust or the endless implications of corruption pervading every level of this department. Now, to be fair, the FDLE investigation was initiated by the sheriff's office, but it begs the question, how many more corrupted officers are there? If one punk-ass cop can victimize this many people, imagine what an entire agency can do. As we've seen time and again, when an individual officer is outed for being corrupt, rarely does he stand alone. More often, they're a product of a structure that either turns a blind eye or flat out rewards it. At the very least, every cop within that department stacking caseloads like Wester's should be audited. This is an infuriating example of policing in service of personal gain at the public expense. When a law enforcement officer joins the ranks, there exists an inherent trust that, when broken, ruins lives within the communities they're sworn to protect. It's my hope that karma reciprocates tenfold the suffering that this once trusted public official exacted upon hundreds of victims of whom he swore an oath to protect. Also, that his cellmate is freakishly well endowed, and that every time he's accosted by one of his new colleagues, he's reminded of all the innocence he stole. At the risk of sounding hyperbolic, I think for every bad cop that gets caught, there are dozens, if not hundreds, that don't. Deputy Dipshit here got drunk off his ego and busted himself, ruining someone's life. This is a horrifying example of a corrupt and rapacious justice system that lives in the shadows of privatization and exists for profit by any and all means. Cops are not your friend, but Miranda is. You have the right to shut the fuck up, because every spoken word, every courtesy extended to them only helps them build their case against you and feed the industry's insatiable hunger for revenue. But I'll pose the question, what do you think? Hash it out below. There will be a part 2, so make sure you're subscribed, because it's equally infuriating. There's some links in the description, including the raw body cam footage for this incident. Also, if you are so inclined, there's some ways to help me grow the channel, and an email link if you have a case you want me to cover. So until next time, shut your mouth and open your camera.